But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about Mark Elias. Now, Alex Jones, there was a very famous case in Britain about 20, 30 years ago, and that involved a person, a historian, whose name was Tolstoi, and he was actually a member of the Tolstoi family. And he wrote a book about a former minister of the British government, in which he said that this minister of the British government had colluded with the Soviets to have Cossack soldiers who fought with the Germans, repatriated, deported to the Soviet Union, where Stalin had them all executed. Anyway, that was what this person, this historian Tolstoi, said. And he was sued in defamation by the minister, this government minister, who was still alive at that time. He'd obviously become retired, and the government minister won. And I think he was awarded damages in the High Court. I think there was something like £1 million. And there was an enormous legal battle, and it went all the way to the European Court of Human Rights. And the European Court of Human Rights quashed the award because it said that this award was clearly disproportionate and excessive, and its true purpose was not to compensate this minister for any defamation, but to silence the historian, and was therefore an infringement of free speech. It was an Article 10 infringement. Now, it seems to me that what we have in the United States is, I'm not familiar with all the details of this case, but a $45 million award, how can that possibly be anything else than an attempt to silence Alex Jones? I mean, it is off the scale. And I was reading just the other day in The Guardian, liberal newspaper in Britain, and they were commenting on some of the things that the judge in this Alex Jones case said to Alex Jones. And Alex Jones said, I've never said anything that I believe was untrue. And the judge came back and said, what you, Alex Jones, don't seem to understand is that what you believe is true isn't necessarily true. Well, if that's the case, then Alex Jones is not a liar, because the Guardian was saying that the judge was calling him a liar. And of course, if Alex Jones says something which he believes is true, then he cannot be a liar, because a lie is something which somebody says with the intention of deceiving people, either knowing it to be untrue or reckless as to whether it is true or not. So the judge comes up with this comment, which I have to say I thought was incredibly prejudicial. And why is a judge making a comment like that anyway? So we have things that the judge says which I don't think are appropriate at all for a judge to say in a case like this. And an award, which is just off the scale, and which, as I said, there is British and European court precedent for saying that it's dangerous, that it looks like an attempt to restrict, to suppress speech, the exercise of free speech, which the European Court of Human Rights said is an obvious and important human right.
No doubt. I mean, so first as to the case itself and what it's